because that was my experience. I mean, that definitely was, something I came into the rooms, and I probably not to the extent of Willie, but I had some religious trauma. I didn't like hearing about God. I didn't like the word God, and when I would hear that word, like, it did something to me that was negative, and it took me a long time to get to a point where I did believe in a higher power. And it took me even longer to decide to call that God. And I think in my experience, it was simply because God was easier to say. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to say higher power every time. I was like, I'll just call it God. Like, it's fine. That shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's my journey with the spiritual awakening. But I think, to that point, like, even the fact that I was open, and that I think is the crucial part when it comes to a spiritual awakening. Like, I had to get to a point with my disease where the pain was enough that I was even open to the idea of a spiritual awakening, right? That I was even like, okay, like, obviously I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. These people are telling me that it's a spiritual experience or that I need a spiritual awakening. Like, what does that even look like? Okay, I'm open to the idea that that's what I need, and then go from there. And like, as long as I'm willing to be open to the idea that I do need a spiritual experience, that the solution is spiritual in nature, then from that idea, like, I can at least look back at that and be like, that's a psychic change in and of itself.